Hello, hello, hello. Let's go ahead and drag this. We got ourselves a log. Log, it's big, it's happy, it's fun. Hi there, everyone. This is Leo from Leo J Chip. Good morning. And we have ourselves a new Titan log we're going to be unboxing over here. Now, the first thing before I want to point out anything that's going on with this log is let's just take a look at how it arrived, because it's going to be a little bit important in case I unbox this and it looks like crap. So if we look over at this side of the log box, you see that the entire handle of the log is already poking out of one side of the box. It entirely just ripped on through that's over there. So that was kind of fun to look at. The rest of the box seems to have maintained just fine during the shipping. But then we look over at this side of the box and what? It looks like, I don't know if somebody tried to open the box entirely and tear it out and do anything, but it's missing an entire opening on here. It looks like it doesn't even finish the Unleash Your Titan logo that's on there as well. So yeah, this whole thing kind of just came this way. And I'm like, I'm hoping that's not going to be a big issue when I unbox this and see like a lot of problems going off with the actual product itself. But let's get this opened up and see what it looks like on the inside. All right. Lo and behold, it actually doesn't look like it's terrible. I'm trying to be cute about it and see about just unwrapping it by pulling the whole thing out, but I feel like I'm just wasting time doing that. So let's just tear this open. There we go. All right, let's look at the goods on the inside. Well, fortunately, the log itself is pretty clean. That is a clean product. All right. Even though it came in looking in a very busted box, the actual product itself, which is just a big steel log, looks like it came out all right. So let's go ahead and get this out of the box. Ooh, nice knurled handle, so that way they're not going to slip out of my hands in using it. Just go ahead and pick this up like we normally would and set it on the rack. It fits exactly as it's supposed to. Call me impressed. So what we have over here is a Titan Rackable Log. As the name implies, considering it's rackable, it fits inside exactly a Titan squat rack that I'm using over here. The reason that I got a Titan log to begin with is because, well, in the sport of strongman, we're going to be doing log presses constantly. A big overhead movement that we're doing either at medleys, for reps, or for maxes. So we got to make sure that we can get a lot of good log press practice that's in here. This is actually going to be a 12-inch log. The 12-inch variety is about the standard diameter of the log that we're lifting over in competitions. They do sell two other varieties, an 8-inch variety and a 10-inch variety that they usually have for the women's division. It's a much smaller log, smaller people, smaller log. But the men's division, they use the bigger 12-inch variety. Now, the reason I got this one in particular is, well, one, it's Titan branded, so it fits right inside their own squat rack, which makes it incredibly convenient to use. But also, I wanted to see other brands, and other brands that have a bit higher quality charge a lot more for their log. And I kind of just wanted to not overpay for my log. I wanted to pay for a good, decent pricing without going hundreds over. The one downside of this log is they also say that you're not supposed to drop this thing. If you've ever seen a strongman competition, you've seen the log, generally we go from the overhead position with the log and we bring it down over to the ground, over onto a bunch of safety pads, which we'll get to in just a moment, because that's going to be a second unboxing that we're about to do. But the two things that we can do with this log that we have from over here is, one, we can go from an overhead press movement right from the rack position that the log is in. We can also go into, let's say, bench pressing position from it too. Like if we want to set up our bench that's on here and go right from the rack, bring it up and over. So let's at least, at the very least, go from this position and see what's going to go on from this side. First unofficial pressing with my new log. This is the idea. We're going to be able to go from here onto the chest position, lift it right up, bring it back, and press. And that's going to be really good for that movement, so that way we can get the log practiced in on it. It does roll back, as you can see over there, on its own, just by like the way that the weight is. So you would have to essentially every single time bring it back like this, which is fine. You're just, making note of how all the weight is over here at the bottom. So it's going to end up doing this once you rack it. So and I have to grab the handles from the inside, pull it back, and then go from that position. So, I mean, that's whatever. Alternatively, as opposed to using the J hooks, I'll probably instead use the safeties because I feel like it gives me a lot more room to work with. So I'm not sitting there having to like balance it or anything on the J hooks. I just need to land it on something nice. That's not going to cause it to tip over or fall over or anything like that. So that's probably how I end up training with this thing. But that's not all I have today. I have another toy from them. Here's a box that did not get destroyed in shipping. Cardboard and, oh yeah, I'm gonna flip this upside down to get it to slide out. Ta-da! We have gotten ourselves a pair of Titan crash pads. Oh yeah. Now, the reason these crash pads are going to be so important, especially with this log that we got behind us over here as well, is because since we're going to be dropping objects overhead onto the floor, we don't want to damage the implement, we don't want to damage the floor, and we don't want to hurt ourselves with that entire process. So generally when we're competing, especially in training, we want to make sure that we're safely able to drop these objects from not even the overhead position. I'm not going to drop anything and tree top it from the top. I'm going to roll it down over to our chest and bring it down to the floor onto the crash pads themselves. In order to measure how wide you want your crash pads to be, what I generally do is I'll grab the crash pads by the handles and I'll just stand at exactly where I need to be, right? And then from here, drop it right to the floor. And that's where it's going to be. So this way I know that the log is going to be right there at this distance. So let's go ahead and get this log onto this crash pad. Oh, that is perfect. It's almost like they were meant for each other. One of my main concerns that I had with this entire setup was that if the bells over here were a little too long or too wide, or it wasn't going to land properly on the actual pads, but it looks like the center main meat and potato part of the log itself is just wide enough that it can actually land onto the pads safely without it hitting the floor or anything like that. So this is what I kind of wanted to see. I just want to do one single quick log press to kind of show what I meant by this entire setup and while I'll be doing this over here. So it looks like I'm not going to be overshooting. I have just enough space for everything that's happening over here. So I'll be training this just well. All right, first unofficial pressing of the Titan log onto the crash pads. That's kind of what I wanted to do. We're not going to go through a tutorial as to how to do this whole lift or anything like that. That'll be for another video. I just want to make sure it feels nice to pick it up, feels nice to roll it up, it feels nice to put it back down onto the crash pad. So grab the log, up, down, pull, and press. Oh yeah, we're going to be training the hell out of this thing. Onto the chest. Oh, right under the pads too. Oh, that felt all good. That felt great. I'm excited to be training the heck out of this log now. And I don't have to use couch cushions like I have been with some puzzle mats on top to do my pressing either. The other overhead pressing event I'll be doing onto these crash pads too is going to also be the axle bar clean and press along with the circus dumbbells. But I'm pretty excited to be able to go through this right now. I'll be able to train this week. I have a max log that's going to be coming up in December most likely. So I'm going to need to be log pressing probably once or twice a week until then, so I can get that really good overhead press movement that's on there. I love this new addition to my strongman gym. Speaking of my strongman gym, you might notice I'm in a new gym right now. I'm gonna have to do a gym tour soon because we've moved our entire gym space over into our garage as opposed to our kind of basement little thing that we've been having going on for the last couple of 2 years really at this point. But we wanted to have overhead space. Well, until next time, this is Leo from Leo J Gym signing out. And tune in for more of these videos that we're going to be doing soon because we want to make sure that we can grow our little strongman thing that we're doing over here, especially since we just love competing so much. Until next time. Oh, and follow me at my socials at Leo J Gym. See y'all later.